Hello, welcome to Miracle Mom and Michael. It's just Michael today. I just finished recording a long phone call with mom and then realized that I accidentally, at some point, clicked stop recording early on in like an hour and a half phone call. So tomorrow we are going to uh, redo, have a second take of that whole phone call. It's a natural conversation, so obviously it'll go different tomorrow, but the subject, the content, the stuff that we talked about will be the same. But I did want to post a video today, and I'm probably going to do this every now and then. Just she's not on the phone, even though it says she is. I just created this graphic today for today's phone call. I am going to post the entirety of the first portion of today's call up until the moment I accidentally hit stop recording, which I better move the cursor away so I don't do it again. But I'm going to take this opportunity to just share off the top of my head about what this is. It's a podcast, it's a journal entry, it's a phone call, and it's a digital record forever or until an EMP is detonated over North America and blows out every electronic device and erases every hard drive, etc. No, but the YouTube thing, the uh, community of content creators that exist in the world today, uh, it's a good thing and a bad thing. Let's just go with that. What makes something good or what makes something bad? Uh, it's not intrinsically good, it's not intrinsically bad. It has instrumental value. And so uh, it, it, for the most part, is good. Boy, I'm not making any sense, am I? It's good, it's bad, it's not that good. It's good, it's not so. Take an automobile, right? Is that a good thing or a bad thing? Well, it has a lot of very good uses, and it has a lot of very bad uses. I did a audio podcast called Death Machines in the past, and that entire podcast was about cars. They're death machines, and they bring death in any number of ways. Every time you get into a car, you put your life at risk, right? There's a risk factor just by climbing into a car. Percentage every time you get in, you're risking your life because people die in cars, whether they're accidents or whether people transport deadly devices in a car, or people, well, I won't get into the morbidity of all of that, but human ingenuity is good, right? We created cars, and that's applying our intellect and inventing. I think invention is an intrinsically good thing. Uh, Innovation and creativity, that's just the way we're designed. So when things are used for evil, the thing itself isn't evil. It's depends on in whose hands or in whose power that thing is. So YouTube, there's other streaming, or there's other content platforms, but that's the Kleenex of online content. We can create whatever we want and post it, and there are some rules, and they have algorithms that will filter out and censor things. But for the most part, we can upload our videos, and they're essentially there forever. Yeah, they can be deleted, but there's always a record. There's a record there somewhere. If you keep your copy of the video, and then, well, I don't want to pretend that I know the inner workings of all of what goes on behind the scenes, but there's the potential. At least there is a time stamp when you posted something. All right, I won't. Will I even post this? Is this even interesting to anyone? I'm sure most people have tuned out long before they've heard me babble on and on. And that's just the nature of the beast when dealing with me, Michael, the Michael portion of this of this show. I witnessed a miracle with my mom. I was on the phone and emailing and texting her on a regular basis for a couple months prior to her near-death experience. And I just wanted to say, I believe it was providential that some of the things in my life leading up to this were providential. I had started a different podcast. It's just an audio podcast, and it was topical, and it's just me taking a half an hour a day, going on a walk and recording my thoughts. And there were topics, and sometimes it was just it was all stream of consciousness, but sometimes it was topical. I talk about specific things. Sometimes I would just start talking, and wherever it went. And then I would send those links to my mom, and she would watch them. And my mom and I, our relationship, it's always been a good relationship, but we hadn't communicated. We hadn't spoken on the phone on a regular basis ever. Honestly, I feel like a bad son for calling her like twice a year, and that's in a good year. But when I started that podcast, and I started that for a reason, and I won't go into here. Well, okay, I'll go into it a little bit. I'm working on a project. I'm a Hollywood guy, and it's a big project, and it might go somewhere. Who knows, right? In Hollywood, you can't predict, but this one has all the signs of going somewhere, like getting made. And I was in the middle of writing something, or writing the script, and I'm like, what? I need to start a podcast right now. I don't know, on a whim. And so I started just documenting. It was basically a daily journal, and posting it and sending it to my mom. So my mom got to hear the inner workings of my mind for the first time ever. Well, we know each other. We're in agreement on a lot of things, the things we believe and things we think about. We're very much alike, or in sync. But listening to me talk for half an hour a day is inevitably going to reveal a lot more about me, and just the fact that she wanted to listen, it was she's always been my number one fan. Even if she's the only one who ever watches this, it doesn't matter, because that's what it's for. It's just being open and honest with my mom and a relationship, and it's about being vulnerable, putting it out there. And so in that process, I invited her to email me about the subjects that I would talk about in that podcast. And I'm glad I did, because she's an incredible writer and a thinker, and she's 75 years old, and she's not long for this world, and she's there's no illusions about that. But here in the I'm no spring chicken myself, but getting to know my mom better at this point in my life, it's like, oh, there's this gold mine, this treasure trove of insights and experience that are my mom, that are rattling around in that head of hers. And so she would email me, and I was like, oh, this is incredible. Things that she had experienced and insights that she has. And it became a part of that podcast. And one of the things that she disclosed is a couple of experiences. One in particular, she had a near-death experience like 5 years ago. And, we'll cover that in this show at some point in a phone call. think she did start telling the story, and I cut her off at one point in one of the episodes last week. But she had this experience, and the result of that experience is she realized she's ready to go. That even then, in that experience 5 years ago, she said she didn't want to come back. She was having this, she was on her deathbed in a hospital and having this experience, a very, she says there really aren't words to explain it. But since words are the only thing we have, in our toolbox, you're forced to try and communicate something that's impossible to communicate. And but the one thing she came away with was she's ready. She's good to go. She's, as sad as it would be for all the loved ones in her life, for her, it's like, let's do this thing, God, let's go. And had I not started that podcast, I wouldn't have known that. I wouldn't have known that where she is in her, like, some people are terrified of death, and she's had that experience, and others as well, that her mind and heart are at ease. She knows she is ready. She's where she's supposed to be. She loves Jesus. She has eternal life that's already begun, that's going to continue and only get better. And with that knowledge, she's like, yep, all right, let's do it. I'm good. This mortal body is falling apart, and there's a new body waiting. And so I wouldn't have known where she was in her mind, because a person can say they love Jesus, but maybe they have fears about the end. But so then this other near-death experience happened to Mom on December 9th, 2019. And if she had died that day, and if I had not started that other podcast and opened up this regular communication with her, I would have been left with uncertainty of, I would have, number one, have regretted not talking to my mom regularly. Twice a year is not enough. It would have been agonizing for me. It was like, my mom just died, and I didn't get to talk to her. And I didn't choose to talk to her, but I had, since September, we had been communicating. And so I'm saying all of this to say is that Mom has experienced some miracles. And this latest miracle on December 9th, 2019 is all documented. Like that other podcast, there's an episode where I was about to record. That podcast is a 30-minute, it's called My Daily Walk. It's a 30-minute just walk and talk where I just record what's going on in my life, the projects I'm working on in Hollywood, and other things, experiences from my past, and my thoughts and insights about spiritual matters, etc. It's, just me talking. Who cares? Who cares? My mom cares. So it was good for her. And we started this dialogue, and I had gotten a call from my brother the day she went into the hospital. Like 5 minutes before I started recording, my brother calls, Mom's in an ambulance. And I didn't know if I would ever talk to her again. So then I started my day's episode, and about 5 minutes into that episode, I get another call, and I think I paused it, and I got a call that she was lucid, she was talking. But so for that 5 minutes, I'm talking my honest opinion about, wow, I may never talk to my mom again. I'm grateful that I have been communicating with her now, because if I never get to talk with her again, I have a record of like emails from her and me reading her emails on that podcast, etc. So it's all documented, and that portion of that podcast I haven't released it yet. I haven't even posted it. I did about 3 months of podcasting, and then there's 2 weeks of what the stuff my mom went through, the day she went into the hospital, and then the next day, and then like those following 2 weeks, all the things that came to light about how miraculous this event was in her life. It was a miracle. It was miraculous. There's no question about it. She should have died that day, and it just was not her time. And her time is yet to come. We'll see, maybe she'll never die, but if she is going to die, she's probably closer to it than I. But I just wanted to post this. I don't know if anybody will ever watch this, but what happened today is I accidentally hit stop. We were recording, we were well into our conversation, and I was moving something around, and my cursor on my laptop was on over the stop button, and it must have jiggled and bumped. And so we went on and had another hour, at least an hour, maybe an hour and a half conversation that was not recorded. So I'm posting this in place of that. After this, I will post one other video that will be just that recording up until I accidentally hit stop. So that'll have it. And then I just recorded an end tag. I'm going to put an end tag on all of these videos, so you're about to see the end tag. It's a little end tag that just reminds you to subscribe when you push this button here. And if I do it right, then there's a button that comes up at the end of every video. So subscribe, pass it on. If this video is encouraging to you at all, pass it on to someone you care about. Maybe somebody will be encouraged by it, find it interesting. There are some people watching, so it's interesting to someone. All right, that's it. Cut and cue the end tag right here. It's coming. End tag's coming up right here. Thanks for watching. And remember, every time you do, you witness a miracle. Mom was supposed to die in December of 2019. Now, every breath she takes is a gift from God. If this video was encouraging to you, share it with someone you care about. And don't forget to subscribe by clicking this button right here. Right here somewhere. Right in here. This button. This thing. It's like right here.